Hey, this is Carl, and here with me is Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk, because I don't have a She-Hulk statue. Today we're going to dive into the origin of one of the most talked about superheroes recently. Probably because she has her own TV show now?
Just remember whose show this actually is.
She-Hulk of Earth 616. So stay tuned. Who is she and how did she become the She-Hulk we all know and love? Let's find out. Also, there's gonna be some spoilers from the TV show in this episode, so be aware. She-Hulk, or Jennifer Sue Jen Walters, is shy and mild-mannered.
He doesn't mean that.
But talented lawyer, who's the cousin of the Hulk, the mightiest Avenger, or Dr. Bruce Banner.
Voice activation required.
Banner.
Welcome, strongest Avenger.
What?
She's known for being allies with the Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D., A-Force, Fantastic Four, and many others not mentioned. She-Hulk first appeared in the Savage She-Hulk issue number 1, released on February 1980. The man himself, Stan Lee, and comic artist John Buscema created She-Hulk. And by the way, it was also Stan Lee and Jack Kirby who created his cousin, the Incredible Hulk. In her life before becoming She-Hulk, she was Jennifer Walters, the daughter of Morris and Elaine Walters. She originally wanted to be a dancer, but her father did not approve of that. When her mother died in a car crash, Jen started becoming more distant from her father. This made her more focused on studying and somewhat motivated her to finish 2 degrees at Harvard and UCLA. Jen eventually became a deputy district attorney in LA or Los Angeles. There's actually some fan art or custom She-Hulk statues coming. One of them is breaking out of the wall, and one of them is doing some workouts, which I think she doesn't need at all since she's very strong. And the last one is a savage She-Hulk, but her portrait isn't savage and actually looks very beautiful. Anyway, back to the show. So how did Jen become the She-Hulk? After being fatally shot by the crime boss Nicholas Trask on their way home, Jen received an emergency blood transfusion from her cousin, Dr. Bruce Banner. Despite the successful blood transfusion, Jen actually died and went into the below place, which is the bottom layer of reality and the bedrock of hell. Because she's a gamma mutate, Jen found the second metaphysical green door, which brought her back to life with no memory of the below place. When Jen became more stable, Trask's goons attempted to hurt her again. This activated the gamma radiation in her blood, which turned her skin green and grew her 6 feet taller. This was her first transformation. She was then able to defend herself against the goons and trap them until the police arrived. Spoiler alert, in the TV show, both Jen and Bruce actually was in a car crash and Bruce accidentally transfused Jen with his blood. Another tragedy happened when Trask tried to kill Jen again, but killed her best friend Jill instead. To protect Jen, however, the public was led to believe that She-Hulk truly died, and She-Hulk was reported as the killer. Enraged, Jen went after Trask in her She-Hulk form, but Trask kidnapped her father and convinced him to avenge Jen by killing She-Hulk using his advanced weaponry. During the fight, however, She-Hulk noticed that the weapon her father was using was rigged to explode. She has saved his father by throwing the weapon aside before it exploded. Jen finally defeated Trask after investigating him and discovering his massive earth-boring device called the Silver Serpent. During their fight, the device malfunctioned and continued to go deep into the earth, with Trask inside resulting to his death. With Trask dead, She-Hulk proceeded to embark on a solo career until she was invited by Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, the original Wasp, to join the Avengers. She happily accepted and quit being a lawyer. During this time, she got transported to the Battleworld by the Beyonder, where she took part in the first Secret Wars and fought Titania for the very first time. And another spoiler, in the TV show, they actually sort of fought for the very first time in the courthouse, and the very first time Jen transformed as She-Hulk publicly. She also joined the Fantastic Four temporarily as a replacement for the Thing after the war on Battleworld. So how did Jennifer adjust to being the She-Hulk? Despite being incredibly strong, Jen acquired a milder version of his Hulk condition, or the Hulk disease, which causes people to become ridiculously muscular whenever they are extremely angered or in great danger. At first, she was savage and dim-witted, much like the Hulk. However, her personality soon evolved into a fun-loving, less inhibited version of Jen Walters, while retaining all her intelligence as a normal human. She grew so comfortable in her Hulk form that she even learned to control her transformations. So another spoiler is that this is somewhat similar to the TV show. However, almost right off the bat, Jen was able to control being She-Hulk and ended Bruce's training abruptly to continue her law practice. She-Hulk is extraordinarily strong and tough, able to leap great heights and hold her own in a physical fight against some of the most formidable powerhouses on Earth. Notably, unlike Bruce Banner and others who have become Hulk-like creatures, thanks to the gamma exposure, she retains her intelligence in She-Hulk form. Now, what about She-Hulk's weaknesses? Well, her strength seems to be her weakness as well. When she becomes too angry during battle, she finds it hard to make up for the tactical mistakes she made.
Don't do it.
As shown in a number of storylines, including World War Hulk, the Hulk has the ability to become practically unstoppable when filled with enough rage. Meaning that it doesn't matter if he fights sloppy and leave himself open to attacks, since there are a few attacks that could hope to stop him. His fight against Sentry is a prime example of that being true. She-Hulk, on the other hand, doesn't seem to reach the same level of invulnerability, which means that if she becomes too angry, her mind gets clouded with rage. Her fighting technique suffers, she leaves herself vulnerable to attack, which is exactly what happened when She-Hulk lost to Captain Marvel in the issue. One interesting thing about the She-Hulk was that she always broke the fourth wall, kinda like Deadpool. And a spoiler, she actually did that a number of times in the show as well.
Okay, then I want to talk to Kevin.
No one talks to Kevin.
For a time, starting with the sensational She-Hulk series by John Byrne in 1989, She-Hulk was portrayed with a form of a cross-dimensional or metafictional awareness to break the fourth wall.
A mess. None of these storylines make any sense. Is this working for you?
Yeah.
All right.
In some stories, she showed an awareness of being a comic book character, with visuals of her tearing the page or walking through a page of advertisement to reach an enemy's control center. She sometimes engaged in argument with the writer John Byrne, or appealed to the comics editor. She-Hulk's adventure continues in the Marvel series She-Hulk 2022 and the TV show She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which is also released 2022. Like and subscribe. This is Carl, and see you in the next one.